Yud Beis Vehine Lahavin Inyan Ha'otzer Lamaila Hu Dihine Isa B'tikuni Zohar or in Sof Lamaila Din Kates Ulamata Din Tachlis. Understand the concept of the storehouse above. It's brought in Tikuni Zohar that the infinite light is above without end and below without finishing. Now this that it says that we say below without finishing, the intention is that the revelation and the spreading out is in a concept of without end and without boundary at all. Zeu kriyas shame, the shame or Ein Sof, that this is why we call the name of the infinite light, the Ha'or Atzmohu Ein Sof, that the light itself is without end. V'tam hadavarhu, and the reason is Lefisha Ha'or Hu Me'ein HaMa'or, is that the light is similar to the luminary, the Zeu Inyanu Mailas Ha'or, that this is the concept and the greatness of the light. The Ha'or Im Shehu Ha'ar Lavad V'lo Etzem, that the light, even though it's only a glimmer alone and not the essence, Umikol Makom Hine Zehu Mailaso Shu Me'ein HaMa'or, nonetheless, this is its greatness, that it is similar to the luminary. And since the essence is in a simplicity, uncomposed, and in a concept of without end, therefore the light which is also like the luminary, it's in a concept of without end. And this is the light that without end, that the light itself has no end. It's the infinite light. It's not the light of the Ein Sof, it's the infinite light. V'hine meha'or hazeh hayu olamos v'sfiros ein ketzu b'li gvul klal. Now from this light, you would have worlds and spheros without end, without boundary at all, and in a completely different way than the spheros we have. That is, that the worlds and the spheros themselves are without boundary. That is aside from the fact that they would be without boundary in their number, they themselves would be without boundary in their definition. And like the statement in the explanation of the concept of infinite spheros, that the spheros themselves are without boundary. Aside from the fact that in the number they're without boundary. And it's like it's brought in the Idrazuta Kadisha in Zohar in Hazinu Kahai Butzina, and that like this candle, the spash l'chol star the ivar, that spreads out to all sides, and and when you look, when you gaze to know them, to know these lights that have spread out, you'll only find that candle alone. And the Rebbe says on the bottom, so in the Mamer, the Rebbe in the Chatzi Igulim, Kahaner Hazeh, He translates like this candle, asher oro misnutzitz l'chol evar pina, that its light sparkles to all sides and corners. So that's the difference in the translation between start of Ivar, that it's a side and corner. So, and when you gaze at it, to know it. Lo simtza ela haner bilvad, you'll only find the candle alone. That since these lights are simplicity in themselves, they are not uncomposed, even when they spread out. For this very reason, when it comes in many divisions and levels without end. So it's this same very light, but because it's without end and without division, it's without division, so it's here and it's there, and you won't say it's only here or only there. And this is its statement that it spreads out to all sides and corners of Allah mitaso, but in truth, it's really only that single candle, which is the concept of one, and like the statement, that you are one but not with accounting. And the Rebbe says on the bottom, it's the Pasach Eliyahu. And the statement that you are one but not with accounting, and since is a concept of one, in essence, when it comes into a revealed state, it's without counting. It then is a concept of great multitude, exactly the opposite of its essence, so to speak, where it's simple and one. But when it spreads out, then it spreads out completely and in an infinite number. Where do you express the simplicity? Is you have to say that it's everywhere. You can say it because and therefore it spreads out in the greatest number everywhere. But the truth is that it's a concept is one truly. It's really because it's one that it spreads out so much. Now this, that the spheros spread out in the number of 10, like it's brought in Sefer Yetzirah, Eser Spheros, that you have 10 spheros, Eser velo Seisha, Eser velo Chadasar, 10 and not 9, 10 and not 11. This happens to the confinement that was in the infinite light, may be blessed. That through this confinement, the light comes and the revelation comes in a concept of measure and boundary. Therefore, they're in the number of 10 spheros. But nonetheless, even after this confinement, were created infinite worlds and without measure, like it says by Shlomo HaMelech, that he had young girls without number. And like our sages said, that our sages said, don't read it, young women, read it, worlds. That this refers to a concept of the worlds to the supernal king without measure and without boundary at all. And the Rebbe says on the bottom, Al tikri alamos zor chilik alef ein alef beis hakdamos tikuni zor karov l'sofa urei gamkin zor chilik gimel nun ches beis. And back at the Mamer, K'di Isabed Idra Rabba, and like it says in the Idra of Nasa, Begolgalta Yosvi Tresar Alfi Almin, that in the skull, so to speak, sit 12,000 worlds. And the Rebbe says on the bottom, K'di Isabed Idra Rabba, Zor Chile Gimel, Kuf Kav Ches Beis, Lahayr Migeras HaKodesh Simin Kaf, Kuf Lamed Aleph, L'Kudei Torah Parshas Bamidbar, Rishti Bur Hamaschil Ve'erestich. That in Geras Kaf, in Iu V'Chayoyi, he talks about how they're not Almin Mamash. Rather, they're Ke'en Elokus, like of the Kelim Livroish Me'ayin. Biblichinas Bligvul, that the Kelim are also Elokus. That these worlds without end are similar to the Hisgalus Elokus of the Kelim of Atzilus. Now this, the fact that there is a number here mentioned, this 12,000, is only because of referring to that concept that's spoken about over there in particular. That within that context, it's that number, but the truth is these worlds are without end, without boundary, that even in the lowest, to the point where in the lowest level of the levels of Atzilus, which is the concept of the kingship of Atzilus, so you have from it the multitude and the creation without number, without counting. Like it says, how what a multitude are your acts, and how great are your acts. That this is the number of creations and the greatness of the creations in quantity and quality. Like it's brought in the Mamer Vayera, and the Rebbe says on the bottom, Dibur HaMaskil Vayera, Re'ei Torah Or Dibur HaMaskil Vayera Hasheni. Look in the second Vayera Mamer in Torah Or. The Chol Zeh Hu Lefi, that all of this is because Sheha'or Hu Ein Sof U'Bligvul, that the light is infinite and without boundary. U'Lechein Hine Gam Kemo Shebal Yidei Atzimtzum, and therefore, also as it comes through a contracted state, Hine Haisavus U'Bli Mispar Vigvul, so the creation is without counting and boundary.